company was formed a number of years ago, but actually IPO'd in May 2011, looking at a very large sedimentary basin just north of Perth called the Dandaragan Trough, where there's a very large deposit of glauconite. Our objective is to look at that deposit with to extract potash, but also phosphates, some aluminium sulfate and some other minerals. At the IPO we had two objectives, one to get a JORC resource and two to develop a flow sheet for the extraction of those minerals and then apply that to the JORC resource and sort of do a financial model. We achieved both of those early this year. The area we've ended up looking at in a fair bit of detail is called the Dinner Hill area, which is basically on the northwest of the basin, around about the Dandaragan area, a bit north of there. At Dinner Hill we got a JORC resource announced in October of about 120 million tonnes of high-grade glauconite, and that was what was used to underpin the scoping study. Since that time we've done some further drilling, and the independent expert geologists have declared the potential for an exploration target on that Dinner Hill area of well over 1 billion tonnes, somewhere between 1 and 1.5 billion tonnes, which is about 10 times greater than our current JORC resource. In addition to that, about 40 kilometres south of Dinner Hill, an area called Dambaji, we intersected some very thick high-grade seams of green sands. Whereas in Dinner Hill we've got about 8 metres of high-grade material and about 3:1 overburden to wall ratio. At Dambaji it's about 60 metres thick with less than 1:1 overburden to wall, so it's potentially a very large deposit down there. And all of that work really goes to saying that this resource in that Dandaragan Trough will be very, very big and underpin an operation for many, many years. We've got a JORC resource at Dinner Hill of about 120 million tonnes, and we developed a flow sheet to extract the minerals from that. The capital and operating costs were independently estimated by Basin Engineering, and the marketing study for the products was done by CIU, two respected independent experts in their fields. That study showed quite a strong project, generating over $200 million a year of free cash for over 60 years based on that small Dinner Hill resource. So we're very confident that ultimately this project will grow to be a much larger project, feeding the world for many decades to come. The next stage for the company is to do a pilot plant to run this process on a continuous basis to get better engineering data, which will allow us to do a pre-feasibility study. We're in the process of doing the design work for that, and if things go to plan we should be completing that by the end of 2014. Western Australia imports all of its potash and phosphate needs, and Australia imports all of its potash, mostly from Canada, but the other major supplier in the world is Eastern Europe. The similar situation exists in Indonesia, Malaysia and India, so there's no domestic production of potash and very limited phosphate. So the Dandaragan Trough project will always have a strong logistics advantage over products coming from Canada in the case of potash, or North Africa rather, in the case of phosphates. So we see the company developing a strong local market within Western Australia and then also going on into Southeast Asia.